What happened today was the pinnacle of the week. We witnessed a synchronized explosive breakout across the entire hardware stack. The catalyst just wasn't the single earnings report that we saw last night. It wasn't just the Nvidia report that dropped after the closing bell yesterday. It's the realization by Wall Street that the AI trade has officially moved beyond the GPU. Today, between Nvidia's blowout numbers being officially digested into the market, we also saw ARM Holdings stage a staggering 16% breakout on a massive architecture demand surprise. We saw AMD drop a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem bomb with both TSMC and Amkor. The memory sector just experienced one of the most bullish sessions of the year. In this deep dive today, we're going to unpack the institutional data from today's top gainers, and we're going to deconstruct how these complex chip architectures directly multiply the demand for the memory titans or the Fab Four that we follow on this channel. I'll give you my perspective exactly how I think these stocks will trade at the opening bell tomorrow and throughout the day as we head into the weekend. But if you guys haven't done it already, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow this channel as fast as we can, as you know, and I appreciate each and every one of you for engaging with the content, dropping your questions below, and just being an amazing community overall. So let's get started. Let's talk about what we saw today. Who were the biggest gainers on the market today? And just how exactly did the earnings for Nvidia get digested today? What happened to the stock? But I first want to jump over and just take a look at the top gainers overall. And you can see here, I pulled up Yahoo Finance, just looking at the top gainers today based on the ones with the largest change, or actually, let me shift that to the ones with the largest change, because I just want to show you the Fab Four. Those four companies of SanDisk, Micron, Western Digital, and Seagate were in the top 12 today of the biggest movers in the market. You can see SanDisk here. It had the biggest move overall from a dollar change perspective. It almost posted $150 for the stock today. It was up almost 11%, as you can see, closed at $15.42. But if you look just below it, Seagate was actually the third largest mover or gainer today with almost a $60 gain on the day. It closed at $810.46, up almost 8% on the day on strong volume across the board. And just below it, ARM Holdings, we'll get to that in a moment, but I want to show you Micron here had a strong day as well. Over a 4% gain, $30 growth on the day. I think you remember yesterday it was a $32 or $33 gain, if my memory serves me correctly. Today, a $30 gain. So an amazing couple days for Micron. Let's see if it can close out the week strong and get closer to that $800 level that we've been tracking. And then finally, Western Digital down here is number 12. Had a strong day today, almost a 6% gain, so 5.84, $27 on the gain, and closed at 486. But how exactly did the market digest Nvidia's? We know they had a massive earning overall. You can see kind of just like their last quarterly results. They posted amazing numbers, and the stock kind of didn't take a massive dive today, but it certainly didn't perform as positively as we would hope. It was down 1.75%, about a $4 drop overall. Looking a little healthier in the after hours. It closed at $219.56. So we know when we talked about their earnings last night, I'm not going to go through it again because we covered the raw record-shattering numbers from their Q1 print in detail in last night's video. If you missed it, I encourage you to take a look at last night's video. But the market fully digested those earnings during today's session. A massive structural shift occurred. It didn't occur with Nvidia. It did occur, though, as we saw Wall Street start to allocate capital differently. It allocated it across the AI stack differently. It was clear that capital today rotated directly into the upstream hardware players. We saw advanced packaging, AI storage supply chains today, specifically companies like SanDisk, Micron, Western Digital, and Seagate, like I just showed you. We saw capital rotate into those companies today. I think a big factor of that was the Nvidia earnings, what they shared, what Jensen specifically shared. Because if you think about the psychology of smart money here, Wall Street is shifting to pure picks and shovels plays, the pure picks and shovels blueprint. Nvidia officially confirmed last night that they're building out these AI factories, the largest in human history, as Jensen said. And they're accelerating at them at extraordinary speed right now. But big funds realize that while Nvidia's Blackwell and Hopper and soon to be Vera Rubin platforms are the engines, those engines are completely paralyzed without massive, ultra-fast, high-bandwidth memory arrays and high-density enterprise storage. And because institutional investors are identifying memory as the true physical bottleneck of the AI gigacycle, Nvidia's data didn't cause investors to chase Nvidia today. It caused them to aggressively chase the memory sector. They are using Nvidia's guaranteed demand visibility to de-risk and backstop their massive long positions in Micron, SanDisk, Western Digital, and Seagate. And while Nvidia, it might have laid the match last night for what we saw in the sector today, I would say we have to say that ARM's holdings kind of carried the day overall. It completely stole the show today, quite frankly. You see a $41 gain across the board, a 16% gain on the day for ARM holdings. Look down here, you can see what it's done over the last week. 30% gain over the week. In the last month, about a 70% gain for this stock. Look at that trend right here. Just look at the massive kind of growth from the beginning of the year with this stock. It orchestrated a phenomenal high volume breakout today, ARM Holding did. It skyrocketed 16%, like I said. You can see right here, 16%, and it closed at 298.23. It's more than doubled its average daily volume today. The massive institutional chase was triggered by a complete reset of ARM's revenue model. Wall Street desks, they revealed, and let me jump back and just put that away. Wall Street's desk revealed that while ARM had originally projected $1 billion in licensing and royalty revenue for its new cutting-edge artificial general intelligence CPU architecture over the next 2 fiscal years, incoming hyperscaler demand has clocked in at more than double expectations. So now the pace is tracking more towards 2 billion versus 1 billion. Bernstein, because of this change, we're seeing price targets move with ARM as well. Bernstein initiated coverage on the stock, a new coverage form, and they came out with a screaming outperform rating and a $300 price target. TD Cowen lifted its target to 265 as well, framing ARM as a dominant architectural standard for the next 5 years of AI compute. Now, I'm not recommending in this video that you go out and purchase ARM tomorrow, because quite frankly, I think we're going to see a pullback and a little bit of profit taking for the stock. I do think it's a bit overextended where it is based on the recent performance we've had. And so I would recommend holding a little bit if you don't have any positions in ARM. I do think we'll see a pullback and a nice re-entry point or an entry point into the stock if you're not holding it right now. But I bring this to your attention because I think what we saw with ARM today has a huge impact on the memory sector overall, because ARM's new artificial general intelligence CPU are designed to specifically handle ultra long context windows. As hyperscalers build out massive clusters utilizing this architecture, it acts as a direct multiplier for server bit demand. To feed one of ARM's powered clusters running at these speeds, you must load the system architecture with absolute peak capacity of ultra-dense enterprise DRAM and high-density flash memory. ARM's breakout today, it proves that the broader computing fabric is scaling up, and memory is the structural beneficiary of that scale up. Today, also at the same time, we saw a massive announcement from AMD. And let me pull you up that stock and just to show you how it performed today, because AMD is another one that's has been on fire recently. And you can see AMD, modest gain today. It was about 0.5%, $2. In the after hours, it's gaining some more. I mean, it's at 452 right now. But AMD has been on fire recently. You know, if you look at just the 52-week high right below here, you can see at 469. If you can see just how the stock is performing. So today's growth actually helped stabilize the week. It's essentially flat. But if you look over the last month, let's say if you look over the last 3 months, we had almost 125% return from AMD stock. I've put this in my own AI stack, as you know, and it's an outperforming. It's been a massive performer in the AI stack that I built that I'm going to give you an update on probably later or next week as well when we have the second month update on that investment stack overall. But AMD had a big move today, and a lot of it was based on the announcement. They announced a multi-year $10 billion investment across Taiwan's AI infrastructure layout. Let me show you exactly. So they partnered up with TSMC. You can see here, AMD's EPYC Venice becomes industry's first 2-NAND high HPC CPU to achieve volume ramp as it races towards the agentic AI leadership. So this was a huge announcement from them. They have this partnership that they announced with TSMC. They formally commenced production of their next generation 6th-gen EPYC enterprise processors, codenamed Venice, as you can see in the article. It's locking down TSMC's ultra-premium 2-nanometer process technology. Massive move for AMD, but it's not the only thing that they announced today. They didn't stop there. They also announced a partnership with Amkor, and you can see that Amkor shared this at their investor day today. And you can see at the top of the line, the article says Amkor Technology partners with AMD on chip packaging. So it's working with AMD on packaging the chips products. The announcement comes after Amkor secured 67 additional acres in Arizona this week, adjacent to the 104-acre site they have, where the company is developing a new campus set to begin production in 2028. And you can see down here below a couple things that Amkor has previously announced planned work with Nvidia and Apple. You know that I recommended Amkor just based on they get the spillover from TSMC for advanced packaging. They're a domestic player here in the U.S. They're right next to TSMC in the Arizona, next to their Arizona fab. They're just a massive partner and a great stock to invest in and look at if it's not in your portfolio today. But they're working with Nvidia and Apple already, and now they've confirmed that they're also working with AMD. At the investor event today, Amkor said it expects revenue between $8.5 billion to $9.5 billion by 2028 and $11 billion in sales by 2030. So that's a great announcement from Amkor, but it also is a huge announcement for AMD. Just a big move for them across the board, because this announcement is a massive structural win for them, but it's also a massive structural win for the memory complex, specifically for high bandwidth memory, specifically for Micron as the U.S. provider of high bandwidth memory, because AMD's Helios platform, it relies heavily on the 2.5D advanced packaging, where the compute silicon must be physically placed millimeters away from HBM stacks on an interposer to eliminate data transfer bottlenecks. By AMD deploying $10 billion to lock in TSMC's 2-nanometer front-end lines and integrating directly with Amkor's domestic advanced packaging footprint, they are carving out a highly resistant secondary pipeline for AI superclusters. This guarantees that AMD will be purchasing immense record-breaking volumes of premium HBM3 and HBM4 from suppliers like Micron, like SK Hynix, like Samsung as well, so they can match their accelerated packaging layouts. It's a massive bullish signal for Micron, these moves that we're seeing with AMD. So that's another strong signal that we see in the market, like we saw yesterday for Micron overall as well. But let's take a look at just exactly how did the memory players break out today. I covered a little bit in the beginning of the video, but let's jump through and just take a look at the Fab 4 again. Micron closed at $762.10 today, up $30, as I mentioned. After hours right now, slightly down 0.12, about 80 cents down overall. So it's sitting perfectly, absorbing all of the gains that we saw today. You can see at one point it got up to 764 today, still chasing that 52-week high. SanDisk it was the alpha of today, no question about it. I'm going to get into you and kind of show you the candle pattern for SanDisk. I'm going to remind you of what I said last night's video as well, if you were listening, and make sure you stay to the end to get my predictions for what I think these stocks will do tomorrow at the opening bell and through the session tomorrow. But SanDisk picked up $150, almost 11% gain on the stock today. After hours, it's down about 1.22%, $17 moving lid, but essentially flat, still holding those massive gains. It got up to $15.46 today. The storage players had a nice day today. Western Digital up almost $27, almost 6% on the day. It's holding that in the after hours. It's up by another dollar, sitting right now at $487.50 across the board. And finally, we saw Seagate here. Seagate picked up, almost $60, almost 8% on the day, just a bit under 8%. And right now in the after hours, it is at $8.15, another $4.50 up, another 0.5% up across the board. So nice moves for all four of the memory players today. The Fab Fours, they certainly had a great day. But I want to take you over and just look before we close out the video, take a look at the candle patterns that we have seen today with both Micron and with SanDisk. And you can see that's SanDisk. Let me jump to Micron. No, take that back. I apologize. Oh, hold on. For some reason, that's set to Intel. Let me change that back to Micron. And you can see here, sorry about that, close out that Micron just had a really nice get up right from the get-go. You can see that we had an immediate gap up right from where we closed here on Wednesday, right into Thursday, a nice kind of just strong extending pattern all the way up to reaching the high of the day here at 764, 765, we'll call it. And it had just a nice day. So yesterday, we know we closed at 732. Today, that acted as kind of a rock solid spring. You remember I talked about the RSI. I talked about kind of that nice bullish finish overall. We saw that pattern in the after hours. Well, no question about it. We saw it open this morning with immediate institutional gap up that you can see on the screen there. It sliced right through that 755 resistance. It sliced through it like a hot knife through butter, let's say. And I love what the chart about this chart, what it's showing us in the intraday structure. Notice how the price consolidated in a tight ascending flag formation right around the 758 level throughout the afternoon. This shows that institutional buyers were actively absorbing any supply, refusing to let this stock slip today. A final volume of almost 152,000 shares came in right at the closing bell. If you kind of take a look at these volume bars here, look at the finish across the board in the last, we'll call it hour of trading or so, is a nice complete reversal from where we saw a bit of profit taking and algorithmic selling here. A nice reversal and kind of strong institutional conviction to finish out the day across the board. So that was really nice to see. It shows the institutional buyers, they were absorbing supply. Like I mentioned, they wouldn't let this stock slip down. And then we saw that powerful close. But look at the RSI below. It is sitting at 66.7. It means that despite that massive two-day vertical run that we've seen now with Micron, where it's picked up over $60 per share in 2 days, the stock is building a healthy, tight structures on the tape without blowing into a technically exhausted or unsustainably overbought territory. This is an institutional accumulation at its finest right here on this chart. It's great to see. I'm pretty bullish that we'll continue to see a strong uptake with Micron tomorrow. We might not see it right at the opening bell, but I do think we'll see buyers step in, and I'm going to get to that at the close of the video. But I want to show you just SanDisk across the board, because one of the things we talked about yesterday with SanDisk, if you caught the video yesterday, if you caught the deep dive that I did, you'll know I called this move perfectly to a T, because I told you that this asset had structurally reset like a tight coil, and it was primed for an aggressive gap up in the morning. It's exactly what the tape printed. Just take a look at where we finished yesterday and what we saw in this gap up. I just had a feeling, if I go back and just show you kind of, well, we had this sideways consolidation, and I was just mentioning that it just felt like the RSI got down, went to the 40s during this day, and it felt like the stock was coiled and it was ready for a massive kind of gap up, a get up and go. And it's exactly what we saw. This 5-minute chart is showing us it's an opening gap up, immediately established a powerful ascending support base right above the previous day's value area. And the real institutional footprint showed up midday for SanDisk, where we had an influx of a heavy block volume triggered by a near vertical breakout. It cleanly sliced through the overhead resistance. The technical symmetry into the closing bell was flawless today with this stock. The stock organized itself into a tight bullish flag continuation pattern right at the top of the daily range, completely absorbed any late day profit taking, and it caught a final momentum squeeze to finish practically at its absolute session high today. So unbelievable strong sign of institutional conviction for this stock today, as you just see how it moved. It was great to see the stock get back running again in its bullish pattern like we've seen after a few days of just profit taking and a bit of sluggish performance overall. So I know each and every one of you guys, probably like me, really enjoyed seeing that from the stock today. But I've got to tell you what I think we see tomorrow. And I know, to me, I expect a minor flat opening, as I mentioned with Micron. I think we could see it kind of open right around the 757, 759 level due to that. Do we see a little bit of shave in the after hours? It's essentially flat. It was like, what, a 0.2 or something when we looked at it. But don't let the morning dip shake you out. Intraday, I expect to see buyers step back in and aggressively defend the newly established floor of 755. And once profit taking clears with Micron, the option delta hedging will grind Micron steadily higher and close, in my opinion, between 768 and 772 tomorrow. SanDisk, following today's massive explosive 11-day surge, I expect a volatile opening bell with a modest pre-market gap down into the 1532, 1536 level as short-term traders lock in some gains, some profit taking overall. But this drop will provide a golden entry point for larger funds. Look for block trades to firmly hold at the 1520 structural line, setting up a midday reversal back to the triumphant close for SanDisk as we head into the weekend. I think we could see it get to the 1555 or 1565 range. Western Digital, it's likely to track SanDisk's morning profit taking. It'll test its initial dip to a 481, 483 level. But Western Digital has a massive technical tailwind because it's been lagging the pure play flyers despite its phenomenal Q3 beat. With 480 acting as a concrete floor for this stock, expect a fierce afternoon catch-up trade that forces Western Digital past the 490 and to close near 492, 495 level overall. Seagate, finally, I would expect a quiet, flat opening, testing the 806 to 808 level overall. Seagate put on a spectacular 8% performance today. It coiled beautifully overall. The key level to watch tomorrow is 800. If the bulls can hold that line during the morning chop, I expect a steady low beta grind into the weekend and for Seagate to finish about 818, 824 overall as we head off into the weekend. But the big picture here is simple. AI hardware, the deficit isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Advanced packaging is officially scaling here on U.S. soil, and momentum behind these memory stocks is incredibly strong. Don't let any early Friday morning volatility shake you out. Expect the big institutions to buy up those dips at key support levels and let the trend do the heavy lifting for you as we head into the weekend close. Guys, have a great night. I know tonight's video was a little longer than most, but it was a lot of stuff to cover, and I was pretty excited to get into all of the content. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do it now, and I look forward to you seeing the next one. Take care.